go. All right, so good afternoon, Tony and Nicole. I am so happy to have you here today. I love to invite extremely talented and successful people who are in the world today using their genius and creating the most amazing training experiences that actually help people to elevate themselves and transform. And today I have two members from a very exciting company called Elevated Worldwide. I have the founder and CEO, Tony Childs, and then we have his partner, Nicole, and they are alive with us today to just share a little bit about what it's like creating training programs that actually make a huge impact and difference in the lives of the people that they serve. So Tony, I'm going to turn it over to you first, or maybe Nicole, I should turn it over to you first. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your organization, who you help, what you do, and sort of how you ended up in this space?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So Elevated Worldwide, we essentially work with everyone, but I don't never like to say that because that's, we want to be a little bit more focused than that. We primarily work with high performers, but in multiple areas. So sometimes athletes, a lot of entrepreneurs, sometimes folks in corporate settings, but typically high performers who really want to take their lives or their business to the next level. And we do that through offering training, like I'll use your term again, it's essentially training programs. We have courses and programs and coaching where we work with people day over day, week over week, month over month to really help them make a significant transformation.
Mm-hmm. And, I want to just point out one thing you said in there, and I think you'll agree with me, is that, a lot of times people come looking to do better at work, or they come specifically because there's something happening in their personal life, right? There's sort of like one or the other. And here's the thing that I always find with really exceptional experiences, like I know the things that you create, it actually doesn't matter which one you shift both. Do you see that happening for your clients all the time? It doesn't matter almost what they come for, right? They end up leaving as a completely different person. And here's the other thing that I really love about that when it happens, is that not only do they grow and elevate and change and become this next version of themselves, but everyone that they have the ability to connect with and touch with shifts in conjunction. Do you find that happening to your clients a lot?
Oh yeah, 100%. Mm-hmm. I love it. Tony, I would love your thoughts even on that, because that is part of our mission, is really to have that trickle effect on the world.
Yeah, what drives me nuts most of the time is when business people will say, "I'm sorry, it's just business, nothing personal." And it's like, no, everything's personal, and your personal filters over to your business. How you do one thing is how you do all things. And like, so when a person is mean and abusive at home, they're going to be mean and abusive in the workplace. If they are aloof at home, they will be aloof in the workplace. Like, you don't separate those things. And so it's important to understand that who you are goes with you everywhere. And it filters at home, and it filters in the workplace, and it will filter down to employees. It will filter up to owners and partners. And so changing who you are is the key. It's the key metric to everything.
I agree with that so much. And we find that over and over again. And I'm a big fan of saying right now, I wish we would never say there's leadership training again, right? Especially in corporations, because I believe 75% of the people that are going to that training, they are already thinking to themselves, but I'm already a good manager, right? I'm already a good leader, right? We already have that like willingness factor issue in there. And that we should just call it, let's just be better humans together. Because when we're better humans together, like everything gets elevated, right? Tony, do me a favor, share with everyone just a little bit how you arrived at this spot, because you didn't start here, but now you're here. I think it's 5 years into this journey, right? And owning this company and seeing the amazing work that you've done in the world. Give the audience just a little bit of background of what you were doing before you got here.
Yeah, so it was actually 5 years yesterday. I had my little Facebook message thing pop up, my memory that showed me leaving my old career and coming into this new one. And
that's like triple time dog years, right?
Yes, yes. So I was 15 years in banking, and I did everything from tellering all the way up to executive management. By the time I left, I was over the sales curriculum for about 200 employees, and then I oversaw leadership development curriculum for probably 2,000 employees. And so the bank would send me around to different workshops and different seminars to bring back curriculum, to bring back good training that would be able to make an impact in the lives of those that we would work with. So I worked a lot with high performers, the salespeople of the organization, the managers of the organization, very driven, commissioned only people, and so I would be again sent to different workshops. And then I landed in a workshop on positive psychology, and I'll never forget it. I literally wanted to walk out in the first 5 minutes because I thought it was the stupidest thing ever. When the trainer out of Harvard said, if you change the way you see things, the things you see will change. Like if you change the way you think, and it's like, oh, well, duh, that's stupid, And for sure enough, that I turned to my boss and I'm like, can I leave? And she's like, if you want to get fired, it's like, all right, I will stay. And the next 3 hours changed my life. And I believe that true change, it happens at a deep subconscious level. And 93 to 95% of our life is subconscious. We don't think about it. We just are it. We just do it. It is our habit. And we just do it. And we don't know anything different a lot of the time. And so if we're going to change 93 to 95% of our results, then it will be because we tapped into the subconscious and changed things there. And a lot of training, by the way, focuses on the 3 to 7%, which is conscious. It's read a book and listen to this instructor and write some good notes. And that's where most training ends. And so not a lot of change happens.
Yeah, I agree. I have a favorite saying, and it's like, I can learn something new, right? But how do I become something new? There's a huge leap from learning something new and becoming something new. I'm always so curious, and I happen to work with so many people that are building their signature training program, right? So they are either new in the role, or we work with a lot of, organizations. And they're always asking me, what is it, Susan? What makes your program so different? What is like the one thing? They always ask me, what's the one thing that I could do? And I know what my methodology is. I know what my theories are. We have our Disruptive Spark training formula that we've cultivated around all of that. But I'm always so interested to hear from people like yourself and Nicole that are, doing this day in and day out for a living. If I were to say to you, what is the one thing that makes your program transformational and not just informational, what do you think you'd say?
So first of all, it's subconscious. That's what I would share, that we do subconscious work. I don't do conscious work. Conscious work, I do help I'm really good at helping people understand why I do that thing. So when I tell somebody to repeat something out loud, and it's like, why can't I just repeat it in my head? Why do I have to do it out loud? When I teach them why it's changing the subconscious and why that matters, then they're like, oh, okay, great, I'll do it. Like, people want to know why. And as trainers, as organizations, if you're not teaching your employees why they have to do something, then they probably won't do it, or they'll do it and then they'll have their own conclusions of why that was a stupid idea and why they shouldn't have done it, and then they'll stop doing it. And so what I found is subconscious, doing a lot of subconscious work and teaching people why would I do that? Why does that matter? And the last thing I would share, and this is kind of 3-pronged approach here, is okay, teaching people what to do precisely. So that
yeah,
so people inherently don't trust themselves. Their automatic thought pattern is, am I doing this wrong? Am I doing this right? And so when you can get super crystal clear on what you want your employee to do or what you want your client to do, and hold their hand, you got to treat them like they're 8 years old. And then they'll get to a point where it's like, okay, good. I'm starting to trust myself. I'm starting to trust that that this is working. And so we make it really stupid easy for our clients to get transformation. We give them audios to listen to, and we say, listen to this audio every day for the rest of this week. We give them a statement to read out loud, and we say, read this statement out loud every day. We give them a workbook that has check marks all over it that has day 1, listen to audio. Day 1, read statement, answer these questions. Like it's just, if I just follow the structure, I'll get the result. And the reason why we do that is because people don't trust themselves. If I just said, I'm going to give you a bunch of audios and I'm going to give you a bunch of things to read out loud, and here's the chart of what you need to do. Like, it's crazy that people will look at that and they'll be like, okay, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? It says to read the audio, but it says to listen to the audio, but which audio is it? Like, am I going to listen to the wrong audio? And it's because inherently people just don't trust themselves. And so it's helping people trust that, like, no, here's the exact thing I want you to do.
And, you know, on the heels of that, I'll add on to that. And the immediate default is, so I just won't, right? I just won't watch the video. I just won't listen. Like, I work with so many people, and they are always floored to find out that people actually aren't even listening to their videos or their audios or anything. And they're like, what do you mean they don't listen to them? I'm like, if it's even this hard, if there's a single barrier in their way of being able to do that, they just don't. And they go, this didn't work. And, you know, and that's the end of it. So I love it. I think that was like kind of 3 in 1, right? 3 in 1. So it's definitely the, if I'm going back, let me make sure I got this right. It's the subconscious, right? We're going after the subconscious, explaining the big why, right? Why it's important to them, why it's impactful to them. And then, like, literally make it goof proof, right?
Yes. Stupid easy.
Goof proof. That's it. And actually, it kind of goes in contradictory to, like, what I feel most, especially new people, are tempted to do, which is to overgive, right? I need to give so much, right? I need to give so much to give value, when actually true genius and people that have exceptionally good programs, they're actually quite small. And that's because it actually takes a tremendous amount of experience, practice, and trial and error to boil things down to such a small amount to make that big, big impact. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's really impactful for anybody out there listening who's working on their program, who has a program now that is looking to elevate that program, that using some of your strategies is going to be amazingly helpful. And I want to shift us on to the next thing, because Tony and I, Nicole and I, we all happen to belong to this same really amazing program called the Unstoppable Entrepreneur. And we often get to hear from our fellow experts. And we all had the privilege of listening to Tony give about an 1.5 hour presentation on his work that he does with his clients. And in the middle of that, I heard something I've never heard anyone else do before. And I knew that I needed to share this with even more people in the world. I'm not going to give you any clues about it, other than I asked Tony what he actually calls this little segment. And this is the one thing, like, when Tony says he went to a class and it changed his life, as I listened to you present this, that was what jumped out at me. I do believe there are pieces of content that are so powerful and so impactful and disrupt everything you think you know to be true, that when you hear it, you literally are forever changed. And so I welcome everyone listening in any way, shape, or form to lean all the way in, because Tony is about to hit us with, it's called the Russian lesson. That's all I'm going to leave it with. And I'm going to tell you that this is the one thing that I think if more people understood the value of, they would lead much more impactful, happy, and satisfied lives. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tony. I'm going to give him the full screen and let him take away with his Russian lesson. And I think Nicole and I are just going to go ahead and even just pull ourselves out of the stream so that we're not a distraction in any way, shape, or form. All right, Tony, it's all yours.
Hey, Susan, if you wouldn't mind, just maybe I wonder if I can, you may need to give me just rights to be able to share my screen. So that would be helpful. And while you're doing that, I'm really grateful that Susan reached out and said, hey, would you give your Russian lesson? Would you do that? And I said, of course I will. Now, some of you might know Russian. You're like, well, that's not Russian. You'll understand why I call it my Russian lesson when we get to the end here. Oh, I think I just
Wait, stop my video.
There we go.
Hold on. All right, go ahead, Tony. You're on.
Okay, so we'll go through this, and I talk to a lot of people. I talk to a lot of high achievers, and what you believe that is possible is what you will achieve. And that was what I heard from the Harvard professor there, that, hey, if you change the way you see things, the things you see will change. And that is 100% true. And so we're going to talk about, like, how do I exponentially get change in my life? See, we are taught from a very, very young age that we can get incremental progress. And what incremental progress is like, I can go from A to B to get to C. And then if I get A, B, and C, then maybe I can get to D and E. And we do this in the corporate place all the time, of like, I need that education and I need that experience to get that job. And instead of just the belief that, no, like, I want that job. And can we go from A to F? Can we go from A to D? Can we go from A to E? Like, and the answer to that is yes. But there's a requirement that happens when you do that. And so I'm going to just share my screen here. This is, I'm going to share my iPad so you can kind of see that. And if you see text messages come through, just ignore them. But here is my iPad here. So Susan, can you see my screen there?
I sure can.
Okay, perfect. So most people, I want you to just imagine that right here, this dot right in the middle of the screen here, that this is you now. That represents you now. And that represents your life. That represents your current, it represents your current bank account number, your current sales. That's you now, okay? Now, I'm going to go and we got this other circle right here. And this circle represents your comfort zone. And I want to redefine comfort zone for just a minute here, okay? I want to redefine this, and we're going to do this with just a quick exercise. So Susan, will you help me out with this? Just a quick exercise. I'm going to have you do something. Is that all right? And if you're at home, you can do this as well. If you're at home, and I want you to just interlock your fingers. So Susan, if you wouldn't mind just interlocking your fingers and tell me which thumb is your right thumb over your left thumb, or is your left thumb over your right thumb? Which thumb is over?
Left thumb.
Your right thumb is over your left thumb?
Yep.
Okay, so here's what I want to do. On the count of 3, I want you to disconnect your hands and then reconnect them the opposite way, okay? So 1, 2, 3, disconnect, reconnect the opposite way. What is your brain saying to you right now?
It feels weird.
It's weird, right? It is super uncomfortable. It's super weird. And so that's the mechanism in your brain, and it's saying, this is not right. This is not comfortable. And so I want you to fold your arms for me. Can you fold your arms, Susan? So fold your arms.
Yeah.
Is your left arm over your right arm? Is that what I see in the picture? Your left arm is over your right arm?
Yes, my left arm is over my right arm.
Okay. So on the count of 3, you're going to fold your arms the opposite way, and you're going to fold your arms with your left arm over your right arm over your left arm. Okay. So 1, 2, 3,
Okay.
Fold your arms the opposite way. How does that feel?
I almost can't even do it.
Yeah. You almost can't even do it, right? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So the reason why is because you've been conditioned to do it that way. Like, that's and so here's another circle that I want to put here. And that little circle is called your area of certainty. That's what that circle is. It's my area of certainty. And anytime I get out of my area of certainty and I get to the edges of my comfort zone, I get that feeling, the brain. So I don't like this idea of comfortable, because I don't think that it's your comfort zone, because if it was your comfort zone, you'd have no desires to do anything in life. Because when you're super comfortable, it's like, leave me alone. I'm good. I don't want to be anything different. I don't want to extend myself. I am good. So I don't call that my comfort zone. I actually call that my familiar zone. That's what that zone is called, is my familiar zone. Now, this zone, so I'm going to kind of change the colors here on you. So we've got some different colors here so you can see this. I'm going to use red here. This zone right here, everything in here and everything in here, all of that is what I can experience right now. So if my annual salary has never ever capped $100,000, if that's like the most I've ever made, then $100,000 is in my area of certainty. It's in my area of familiar to me. Okay. But let's say I want to make $500,000. Like I want to do $500,000 in my life. I don't want to do 100,000. I want to do $500,000. And so I want you, if you're listening to me right now, I want you to take what you made in 2021. Okay. You're going to listen to this audio in 2022, but I want you to take what you made in 2021 and I want you to add a 0 to it. Whatever that number was, add a 0 to it. That number is so far out here. It's out in this like no man's land is what it is. And so like if I had 100,000, I add a 0 to that, then that means that 1,000,000 and making 1,000,000, whoops, I can do this. I'm a math major. There we go. There we go. 1,000,000 is way out there. And you cannot experience $1 million, period, end of story, in your familiar zone. It's impossible. It will never happen. You can want it all you want. You can desire it all you want, but you cannot do it unless you do one thing. One thing. And this is the one thing that I want to teach you. This is the one thing that if you can get this one thing, then you will start to experience life in a completely different way. And most people will never do it because they've mistaken the one thing as it's wrong, it's bad, it's not good. Okay, so here it is. What does it feel like? Oh, let's reverse that out. I'm going to go to, let's do a blue pen here. What does it feel like when I am at the edges of my comfort zone? So Susan, what does it feel like when you are at that, like you are at that super close edge of the comfort zone when you're about to go do something that is so unfamiliar? What does that feel like to you?
So for me personally, it's terrifying. It's the best way to put it. My heart races. I swear I break out into a sweat. I almost feel myself start to physically shut down.
Yeah. In fact, there's a sensation that people get most of the time when they're out here on these ragged edges, and it's, I want to puke. That's usually the feeling.
Yep.
True? Okay.
Yep.
So that's the feeling out there, is I'm scared. And that it's this whole thing. This is super not comfortable for me. This is super not familiar to me. And your brain is saying, what does the brain say? So when you fold your arms the opposite way, what was your brain saying, Susan, when you were folding your arms the opposite way? What was it screaming at you?
Fold them back, fold them back.
Fold them back.
Go back.
Okay. Go back to what? What was it telling you to go back to?
The way that you know your area, as you went through your area of certainty.
Like, this is familiar. This is what I know. This is familiar to me. It's like, and here's what people mistake this feeling out here, this feeling that's way out here that I want to puke feeling. They mistake that feeling as what I'm about to do is wrong. It's not right. They mistake that fear feeling. They mistake that like, oh, I want to puke right now. That means this must be wrong. And they go back and now they feel all warm and fuzzy back here. And they think, oh, this is so right. No, guess what that's called? That's called stuck. That's not called right. That's called stuck. If I could rename this area of certainty, this is called stuck. And the only way that you will grow is when you learn to go to the ragged edge of your comfort zone and jump. There's my Russian lesson. You go to
There
the
you go.
ragged edge of your comfort zone and jump, not retreat. So most people, they'll go to this ragged edge of their comfort zone. They'll feel the I want to puke feeling, and then they think that that's wrong and they go back. And what I'm saying is no. What I'm saying is jump. Go do something way out here. And then when you do it again and you keep doing it and you keep doing it, what you do is you expand your circle. Now, here's the cool thing. You get to experience all of this now, where you could not experience that had you not taken the jump. There's no way you could have experienced it. Zero way. Zero. I can tell you this right now. One of my mentors that I started out with, he said, Tony, do you want to make your annual income your monthly income? I was like, yeah, duh. Who wouldn't want to do that? You know, who wouldn't want to make their annual income their monthly income? He says, I'll show you how to do it. And the first thing that he did is he had me do something that completely scared the bejeebies out of me. He said, you got to do it and you got to jump. And I said, no. And he said, okay, good. You'll keep earning what you're going to earn then. And I've realized over the last 5 years that the more I jump, that I go to these ragged edges and I jump 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 and I just keep jumping, I have experienced more in the last 5 years of jumping than I experienced in the previous 35 years of staying in my area of certainty. And that's the key. And most people mistake this to like, well, no, it's wrong because it's not familiar to me. And what I'm saying is that if you want to do the 10 times more, you want to add a 0 to your number, you're going to have to do things that you've never done before. You're going to have to create jobs you've never created before. You're going to have to sell to people you've never sold to before. You're going to have to go do things in your industry that have never been done before in order to get the results that you want in life that you've never gotten before. So anyways, I don't know if you wanted me to share anything else. That's kind of my lesson in Russian here. So there you go.
I think that's so unbelievably powerful. And I loved how this whole thing came together, because I feel like what I hear from people all the time is, you know, we talk about this comfort zone and what is this comfort zone? And, you know, all you have to do is just widen your circle. You know, you just have to widen your circle. And the way you put it, and I think it's true. You know, you get to the edge. I'm actually just thinking back last summer. So I'm a skier, but I'm a cautious one. And every now and again, like I will get to a hill where I literally like can't move. Like I literally can't move. And I often retreat back up the hill. Right. And so in my head now, this ski season, this winter, I'm going to use this as a mantra and see if I can get myself to leap past that. And can I take even my ski skills to the next level? Like it works for everything, right?
See, but yes, it does. And here's what most people do when they get to this ragged edge out here, they dip their toe. They kind of dip their toe and it's like, I wonder what's out there. And all dipping your toe does is makes you more scared. The key is the jump. That's the key here. It's not like go to the ragged edge of your comfort zone and sit there for a few minutes and dip your toe in the water and see if it's safe. Because if you do that, I guarantee you will retreat. Your brain is that powerful. It's go to the ragged edge and jump.
Yeah, you're speaking directly to me now. I go to the edge and I take a peek.
Yep. That's what most people do. It's like, no, let me take a peek here. Let me see if everything's right.
Yeah. Oh, well, maybe, you know, what if I put one ski down here and, you know.
Yeah.
And then it's just go.
I mentioned something else here. This is, I think, something that's important that this is the reason why I do what I do. When people get out into these ragged edges, they need help. They need help to see that what they're feeling is not fear, it's just unfamiliar. And this is the need for good coaching in the world. whether you're a manager and you need to coach your employees, it's the importance of being a good coach when people are in these moments of I want to puke. And it's getting them to see reality, that just to see what is actually reality instead of all the stuff that's going on in their brain, because they're creating all different sorts of scenarios in their brain that are causing them to freeze. And so this is why I own a coaching company. It's to take people to those moments and then coach them through the jumps, coach them to the other side. And we create training programs that help them develop the beliefs along this path that I can do this. I don't know how to do this, but I can do this. So when they get to the ragged edge, it's an exciting feeling, not a fearful feeling. Did you know that both excitement and anxiety are the same feeling? One's just positive and one's negative. And so if I can transfuse my anxiety energy into exciting energy, then I'll jump. If I can't, I'll retreat. And so that's the need for consistent programs, consistent training, coaching, is to move people through those walls, through those barriers, and to help them experience the freedom of whatever it is that they want, and quite possibly 10 times your income. So there you go. I'll stop sharing there.
Well, Tony, this was absolutely amazing. Exactly what I was hoping to be able to share with even more people in the world. And so let me just make sure that everybody knows. So this is what you, Nicole, the rest of your team spend all of your days doing, is helping people over these big leaps like this. And I want to invite anybody out there that's listening to get a little deeper into Tony's circle, connect with Tony, connect with Nicole. And I believe you have something special to offer everyone. If they want to go a little bit deeper with you, you want to just tell them about what they can access today?
Yeah, so we're going to shoot you guys over a link. We're having that developed right now, where we'll get you a landing page where really all we ask for is your name and email, so we can email you. This is a really cool thing. Three weeks ago, I think it was 3 weeks ago, I did a training. It was a 2-day, full day training. It had a workbook. We have a coaching call throughout the training, and it's all about why. How does my brain work? Why do I need this? Why do I need that? So if you enjoyed these, 20 minutes together, imagine two days of this. And that's what I did. And normally we charge, but for you and your viewers, if they're okay listening to the replays, they can go on the link, put their name and email in, and we will email them all of the links to the 2-day training, plus the workbook, plus a free 20-minute coaching call if they register. And we'll do all of that to really just help them see that, wow, what can I do? What are my visions and goals for 2022?
And I'm assuming you work with individuals, you work with corporations, right, across the board?
Yes. Yeah. We work with high performers. So I know that Nicole was kind of like, we work with everyone. We do, but people that don't really want to grow, they don't really want to move, there's not a whole lot we can do for them. You have to want this. You have to have like drive and like, I want to be the best version of me. I want to go 10 levels higher than I am right now. I want to develop a team that can produce 10 times what it's producing right now. I want to develop a company, a culture that we consistently jump outside of our comfort zone. If you're a driven, high-performing individual, we want to work with you. If you're not, I'd invite you to get that drive.
Start with the videos, right? Start with the videos.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much, both of you, for your time and for sharing your genius in the world with us. I know that just hearing this little piece and the expansion that has happened for people by doing so can definitely add some amazing value. And I really hope that people take you up on your offer, because it's quite the amazing gift to be able to be given something to that magnitude. So thank you again. And I wish you an amazing day. And I look forward to talking to you both again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.